right. We are. All right, all right. Welcome to another chaotic beginning to our Thursday night football sleeper picks. um, I'm jumping straight from a meeting, and I know Jesse's been working hard getting this ready, and we've got some great picks for you for a great game today. I almost went to the game. It's my Baltimore Ravens playing the Cincinnati
Ooh,
Bengals. Um, Decided against it. Uh,
that would have been fun though.
it would have been fun. I wonder if I even leave after this podcast. Could I make it? Maybe.
Maybe. You got a few hours
uh,
though.
um, yeah, I think the last time the Bengals and the Ravens had a Sunday night game, the stadium was crazy. And I remember that game like it was last minute ending again. Like almost every AFC North meetings are.
That was
So
with the backup quarterback for the Ravens, right? Like fumbled at
yeah,
the goal line, they took it out of the house.
yep.
Yeah, that game was nuts. I remember watching it. I was like, dude, are they about to win without Lamar? This is nuts.
No, that was a last year's playoff game.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, that was last year's playoff game. I think the one I'm talking about might have been 2 years ago. Actually, it was with
Okay.
Lamar coming and winning the game at the end. But uh, both teams lost last week. In heartbreaking fashion. On the last drive by the opposing teams. So, and we all know that the AFC North is probably one of the best divisions, if not the best divisions, with all four teams, like I think separated by either half a game or something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
bonkers how good it is. It's just wild.
right. Um, so without further ado, let's talk about picks.
All right, we're gonna pull Prue's first pick up. As I might have to grab my daughter because she's screaming in the bathroom. So, Prue, I'm gonna let you take this Gus Edwards prop, and I'll be back in 1 second.
Right. I didn't want to pick any Ravens player props, mainly because I didn't want to jinx my team here. But that being said, the Bengals are giving up the second highest rush yards per attempt at 5 rush yards per attempt. And the Ravens will want to run the ball and keep Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase off the field as much as possible. Um, and Gus here, he's got a 45 and a half rush yards. I know he's been splitting touches with the rookie, the dynamic rookie, but Gus just needs a couple touches, to hit this 45 and a half. And the Bengals are giving up 5 yards a rush attempt, which is second worst in the league for the season. So I think, this is a pretty good prop bet to hit on, even though, Gus might have limited touches.
Yeah, like we've seen the Bengals. They've gotten gashed, and we saw this last week how this worked out, where teams are able to just really hit explosive runs on them. So I totally like this prop and like going with this. It makes a ton of sense. Like it's just you take a good rusher and a good offense and put them up against a defense that's just getting gashed and runs. So it's like it's a win-win. And like I get like I love Keaton Mitchell and like he's really exciting. I think he can flex him this week. But like Gus is still like the running back in that offense. I think Keaton Mitchell's more the explosive element that's just like pops and takes it off. But yeah, I like the line's not super high, so I think he can definitely top this into what I'm about.
Yeah, and Ronnie Stanley's not playing, so they got Patrick McCarry starting at left tackle, and they love using him in the running game. So,
Yeah, so it just helps it even more. It's
yep.
like it's just gonna be good. They're like, yep, absolutely. So I think that's a good one to start us off with. These are a little out of order, so I try to get them in order, but for some reason they uploaded weird. We'll pull up this Mark Andrews one I want to talk about. So Cincinnati plays a lot of cover one, cover three. Andrews has like a career 25% target rate against that kind of coverage. And on top of this, he's never gone under basically like six, I think it's targets in any game in like the last 2 years or 3 years versus Cincinnati. So like he's going to be heavily involved in this offense. I know he hasn't hit in this line in every game, but like the way they match up and they're going to need to score. Like these teams are going to have good offensive weapons moving the field. So like Andrews is the focal point of this offense. And like I just love Mark Andrews on this offense. So I think 56.5 receiving yards is totally within this range of outcomes. Like I think you can get this no problem against the Cincinnati defense. How do you feel about this prop bet?
Yeah, I think that loss to the Browns, which was very weird. It was a weird game in the fourth quarter. Um, is gonna kind of ignite a fire with Lamar, and he's gonna look for his guy, Mark Andrews. You know, when Lamar does get jittery or he needs a secure target, he starts targeting Andrews at a hyper rate. And I think this could be another game. And like you said, right, the Bengals low um, playing um, middle of the field, cover one or cover three, and they like that's Mark Andrews can work his magic underneath.
Yeah,
So this makes
maybe
a lot of
he's just I mean he's one of the like top 2-3 tight ends in the league as it is on top of it. So it's like you're betting on a very talented player attached to a very good quarterback in a very good situation. Like it hits all the notes. And I mean I've been a big Mark Andrews fan for a long time. It's like seeing him when we played a few weeks ago with Seattle. I was like, yeah, that guy's a problem. Like he's legit a problem for defenses to take care of. So yeah, I think Cincinnati's gonna have their hands full with him. So we're starting out strong with two Ravens props. Why is this one not showing up for some reason? Sorry about that. There it is. All right. So I want to pull up. There is a Joe Burrow one that's interesting that I wanted to pull up that I wanted to hit on. We could because it's like reduced rate. Like it's 218 passing yards. They've been slaying the rock lately with Cincinnati. Like I was kind of surprised how much they've thrown the rock, but when you look into it, they're really just throwing a ton. So if you look at his overall attempts, to pushing over 40, which is pretty bonkers, but that's how they've been shooting out. The last 2 weeks he had 40. He had 44 the week before that. I honestly don't think this is going to be like a problem for him to hit this number. He's back to kind of the Joe Burrow that we've seen earlier in the year. And I mean, he's been what 347, 348, 280. Like this number's reduced where if it was at the 260 line, I'd have a little bit more with it, but 216, 218, like I have no concern with him hitting this number. So like with the reduced rate, going against a really high powered Ravens offense, I'm expecting both teams to score a lot, which means Burrow's gonna have to throw the rock. Like I'm expecting him to go over this number. Like this is just seems like a nice little discounted play from Sleeper where it's like, hey, guess what? By the way, they gave us a ton of discounted play, so I was like, yeah, we're adding this one in too. So yeah, I'm all in on Joe Burrow. Over 218 passing yards in this game. Like this seems like a lock thing for me.
Yeah, and I would throw their first matchup away. Joe Burrow was limited. He was still coming
Mm-hmm.
back from his calf injury, and the Ravens D was phenomenal. The other thing is Marlon Humphrey is banged up. I don't know if the injury reports are out or not, if he's playing or
Yeah,
not. Um,
supposedly he's out, so like I like that even
uh,
more because
yeah,
we'll talk about the guy who's going to feast because of it. But yeah, like without Marlon Humphrey on that back end defense, like it's even worse than it was. So like it's just a better matchup in general. It's just like this is one of the few Thursday night football games where I'm like, oh man, this is going to be like the potential for fireworks is like very much throughout this game where we'll see explosive plays all across the board. So yeah,
yeah. And the other thing
100%
is
for it.
Marcus Williams came back last week, and Geno Stone started seeing his snaps kind of go down, which is I think not ideal. Stone was on fire. And Marcus Williams is still favoring his one arm. So I think you're going to see the next guy explode, and because of him exploding, Burrow is going to hit this prop
Yeah. So
easily.
why do you think they're switching that defense? Like, why do you think they're moving those guys around?
Well, so Stone was always brought in as a backup to Williams, and Williams
Mm-hmm.
got injured, and Stone started stepping up. And I think the thing with Marcus Williams is he has a lot of Earl Thomas. Not even when he was in the Ravens, not when he was with
Yeah.
Seattle, but when he was with the Ravens. I forget who the other safety was, but he's really good at eating up space
Mm-hmm.
and getting to the ball. But I think his problem is he doesn't tackle properly with proper technique, and that it has burned him several times. And he's done really good, right? He's the last line of defense. But it just seems like when Geno Stone is out there, there's just this level of physicality that is unmatched. He's almost like Tony Pollard was. Not,
Like last year's Tony Pollard.
no, who was a safety? Tony Jefferson.
Oh, Tony Jefferson.
Um,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah, Tony Jefferson. And he sort of sets that tone. And with him and Hamilton playing safety, I think they both feast on um making short tackles. And
Yeah.
Marcus Williams is he loses his form because I think he's very indecisive if he wants to go for the ball or if he wants to go for the tackle. And I think that indecisiveness leads to bad form. With
Yeah.
that
When
being
they get
said,
caught in
Marcus
between like
Williams
that.
is
Yeah.
amazing at disguising coverages.
All right. So we got our first prop bet for Cincy. We're gonna dip back into another Cincy prop bet here. And it's the pass catcher, Mr. Jamar Chase, one of the best wide receivers in the world. Why don't you take us through why you picked the over on his 82.5 receiving yards in this matchup?
Yeah, so it might be a little high, and we know Chase was held um, uh, to very small numbers in the first week. But if you go back, T. Higgins was exploded against the Ravens, and Chase was the key focal of the defense. They double teamed him, triple teamed him. But with Marlon Humphrey out, you all of a lose that advantage that you could now start double teaming someone. Um, Again, this is a slightly risky because the Mike McDonald could easily double team Chase, and Burrow would have to throw to Boyd or uh
Like
the tight end.
Irwin or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like what's his name? Tanner Hudson, I think is his name. Yeah. That
yeah.
guy.
So they might force him that way if they were truly, but I don't think so. I think without Marlon Humphrey, the cornerbacks are smaller. And Stevens might be bigger, but he doesn't have the technique that Humphrey does. Um, so it'll be. I think Burrow and Chase are gonna revenge the Bengals game and explode here from the earlier
Yeah.
this week. I don't think they
I'm
win.
100%.
I don't think they
It's gonna be.
win, but it's gonna
Oh
be
yeah.
close. But I think the
It's
Bengals will come out slinging.
Yeah, it's going to be like them tough without Humphrey to match up with Chase just because there's no real weakness in his game. So like whoever you're going up against, if they have a weakness, Chase is going to exploit that just because he's such a good wide receiver. Like he could pretty much do everything. And like him hitting this number, he could easily do this on one play. Like he could break a tackle like we're talking about, and then he could
Hmm.
just boat race it out. So like the ways Chase could win in this matchup are all over the field. I think he plays like 80% of his snaps like outside. He doesn't go much in the slot, but like he's such a good outside wide receiver. He honestly doesn't need to be in the slot. He doesn't need to do the CD Lamb thing where they move him inside. They just keep him outside. They're like, dude, win. You're incredible. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, bet. I got you. And like, it's what it's. So yeah, I was like, when I was looking, actually, that's why I'm piggybacking off this prop. And I'm taking the 7.5 receptions, like the over on that one too. It's because Higgins is out. Like Chase is going to see like a 28% target rate more than
Hmm.
likely, if not against this. Like, and they're missing Marlon Humphrey. Like, it's just setting up where the defense might try to scheme to stop him. I honestly don't know if they can. Like, that's the problem. So
Right.
he's very much going to be the focal point of this offense, and he hasn't hit this prop every game. Obviously not because he's had up and down season, but with Burrow coming along, the offense looks like it's in mid-season, pushing towards end of season form. Like this is where you see these monster games from Chase where he pops up for 11 receptions, 180 yards and touchdown. Like you see stuff like this come by. So like I wouldn't be surprised if he smashed both the receiving yards and the receptions in this matchup. Kind of what we're hitting on. So it's like, and as you could tell, like we were expecting a lot of points in this game because we were basically like take the over on all of the very important players, right?
Right.
I thought about doing like a hit or Tyler Boyd prop, but like Tyler Boyd's riskier, or you go Trent Irwin because Trent Irwin's gonna play a little bit, and he's got like 13 yards per reception so far in the season, which is pretty incredible. So he only needs a few to get past 30. But
Right.
yeah, you just go with the big dog in this one. It's like Jamar Chase, one of the best wide receivers in football. Like we're just gonna run with it and take it to the bank. So we got 3 Cincy prop bets that we've done so far. We have 2 randoms prop bets, and there's one more from Sleeper, which is like the gimme prop bet, which is Lamar. It's literally just half a yard, so it's a passing yard. It's like 1. If you actually want like a realistic prop from Lamar, I like him going over his rushing attempts. It's 8.5.
Hmm.
I like the over on that, and I actually like the passing over too because it's 28.5, and I think he's gonna have more attempts than that. So like, I think it's gonna be the Lamar show going against basically the guy in the background on the left side right there and Chase, just like those guys lighting up the scoreboard. So it's just gonna be a lot of fun this matchup where Thursday Night Football, this is like a big time event. Like this goes a long way to deciphering that division for these two teams
Hmm.
too, right? The
Right.
Ravens are home. I do like the Ravens. I think they're very good. Like obviously I saw them firsthand just like dismantle the Seahawks where that was just a bloodbath. We're like, okay, reality check. Seahawks are not as good as we hoped they were. And Baltimore is. Especially coming off the loss for both these teams. I think they're going to be very motivated. So it should be a lot of fun. What else do you see are signing kind of like some of the things that Baltimore can exploit against Cincinnati in this matchup particularly?
Oh, that's a good question. I was thinking the other way around because I'm trying to find the weaknesses the Bengals could exploit on my Ravens. So, the weaknesses the Bengals have, they don't have a run game. So
Mhm.
I think the Ravens D line will put the Bengals in. If they try to attempt running on the first down, is not going to be a winning success. So I think the Bengals will come out trying to pass on the first down. And so I think the defense for the Ravens sets up pretty well by making them one dimensional. But the problem is making Joe Burrow one dimensional kind of tilts the favor in his arena because he's Joe Burrow and he's got Jamar Chase. Um, so I think the Ravens D line could have success, but I think the secondary might get burnt here and there because the Bengals don't have a run game at all.
Right? Like it's the volume for fantasy. It's fine for Joe Mixon because you get the volume, but it's not really efficient volume.
No.
This is the Rashad White and like those guys where it's like, man, just please make it work this week. I don't think he's gonna have his 50-point blow up week this week, obviously, but he'll see enough volume in this game. There's going to be plenty of offensive plays in general. We're both the passing game and like they're still going to involve Mixon. I'm looking at Mixon's touches right now. I think the least amount of rushing attempts he has was last week was 11. But realistically, he's been between in like 12 and 20 like every week. So you know what you're getting out of Mixon. He's going to get some targets too. Like he's just involved, and they still like him, which I don't personally I don't understand it because I don't think Mixon's that good. But we're kind of we had that point with him, so he just gets the volume. So it's like all right, cool.
I
So I
really
trust it.
want the Ravens to come out and just run it 10 times straight and be successful. Just go
Yeah,
down like do one of those drives where the Ravens are known for, where they'd run it 10 times and then um uh plunge it into the end zone and just
yeah,
make the Bengals frustrated, right?
yeah.
And I think that's the key to winning this week is if the Ravens need to get out to a lead and then play bully, and I think they can. I
Mhm.
worry that the Bengals might keep pace with them, and they won't be able to drown the clock down.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to keep their foot on the pedal the entire game, like both teams realistically, because they both
Right,
present challenges for the defensive side. Like
right,
realistically, if you have Lamar, you have Gus, and then you could like where you sprinkle in like Mitchell, where he just pops these super explosive plays. Like that's the thing that I kind of like about him over Justice Hill. Is like his really like stop start ability is ridiculous. Like you watch him, he's absolutely gone. So he can really like turn on corners. Like he can just take those away where you're like, oh yeah, I got this guy tackled. He's running right past me so fast. And then Gus
yeah,
is just one of the most efficient runners like in the history of the NFL. Like no big deal, just 5 yards pop. So yeah, I think it's very exciting. And then you have Lamar who increases that efficiency that they have because he's a rushing quarterback, so they have to spy on him a little bit more and all that stuff. So yeah, I think the rushing attack should be very good against the Cincinnati defense, who is kind of suspect against giving up big plays and explosive plays. So yeah, like I think that's very much something they can lean on throughout this game.
so how do you think the Bengals come out with a win?
The way I think they do it is if they're able to kind of get out early. So like if they're able to kind of stop the rushing attack early and force the Baltimore's like offense to kind of shift what they're doing and tinker a little bit to kind of like Monken to go outside what he's comfortable with, right? To try something different. I think Bateman or one of the other wide receivers is gonna need to make a big play for them in this game. Because like they have Flowers, but like we talked about this, his usage is super weird. I don't fully understand it. But if they could just do what they're doing offensively, like where they can lean on Chase, they get Mixon involved. They continue. They keep these long drives, hit those explosive chunk plays, which they're gone for. Like I could see them being over 30 points in this game, like no problem. Like and Baltimore could be chasing, like in that fact. And then if Baltimore's chasing, it's a little their offense is a lot different because it just completely takes away some of the things they love to do, right?
Yeah, like,
So I think
speaking
that's
of
the scenario.
chasing, Baltimore has led has trailed for 30 minutes the entire season, which is ridiculous. And even the game last week, they didn't trail at all for the whole game, and they lose the game. It's like insane. And I think the Ravens kind of killed themselves, and I think it's the turnovers,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
they're known for their turnovers. They have handoff issues. They have ball security issues, and so I think that's gonna bite them, especially now they're gonna play a gauntlet of really good teams, and I think those turnovers are gonna catch up to them. Um,
Yeah, I think we saw that last week, right?
right.
Particularly where there's just a couple just really bad plays where you're just like Like that interception Lamar threw, I was like, what the heck was that? Like it was literally to just right to the defender. I was like, no offensive players even near it. I was like, what the
Which one?
heck?
The pick
Like,
six?
was it a pick six? No, I'm blanking on it.
No, it wasn't the pick six because that was off of D lineman's helmet and popped straight up.
No, yeah, that one was weird. But there
Yeah,
was like,
that was the
which
other
was the
one.
flower? I can't remember who it was
Oh,
to.
that was a Bateman one. The Bateman one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that's been my pet peeve with the way they use Bateman. So
Hmm.
Bateman has been told that he's running vertically, and if the
Hmm.
defender is off by a certain amount, he's running a hitch
Yep.
or a curl. If the defender is step to step, he's got to keep going. Well, that hitch and curl is a timing play. So Lamar just throws it, and defenders have been reacting to that really quick. And we've seen 2 or 3 interceptions just because of Lamar trying to time that hitch or curl. But Bateman's been told, depending on the separation, to do 1 or 3 things. And I think that's a little bit of on Lamar. Um, not reading the defender that's on Bateman, and they're not on the same page. And I
Yeah.
it's been such a big issue with me. It's like make Bateman do something else.
Yeah.
Like
Like
your muscle
he's good.
memory takes over.
Like I still don't, yeah, the whole Bateman just experience of his entire career has been super frustrating. Just everything associated with it. Like there's a lot of injuries, obviously, so that's plays a factor in it. But yeah, like it just doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense to this day where I'm like, I still think the guy's a good talented player. It's just for whatever reason, it's just continually there's
Go look
always
at
an
the
issue
tape.
with
He
him.
gets so much separation. Like him off the line of scrimmage is beauty. And the other thing is the Raymonds don't pass that often, and I believe
Yeah,
that might change this game though.
they might have to. Like it, yeah, because yeah, like you're talking about, they always get out to leads and they kind of run into these leads and control them.
Right.
So if it shifts right where they're chasing in this game, which they entirely could be because the Bengals offense looks like it's top 3 offense the rest of the season, like you
Hmm.
can see them kind of mix it up and they have to do something they're not comfortable with. So that's where like Bateman and maybe Flowers get a little bit more involved than instead of just on Andrews, they kind of jump outside of that, right? And they try to
Right.
mix it up. Because like you can't count on that OBJ like house call. Like that was like vintage OBJ back in the day,
Right.
but that's just missed tackle, just wide open, like that stuff, that doesn't usually happen with him. So yeah,
Nah,
I
no.
mean, I hope they get Bateman involved. Like, I still like him. He's a good player. And then Zay, like Zay's the other guy. Like, he's the other guy you have an edge where you can put him all over the field, go deep, short. Like, you can do a lot of things with him. So hopefully they use him a little bit more in this game too, because he's been a lot of like short underneath stuff, and it's like, dude, what are we doing? Like, it's make him a wide receiver. So yeah, so it's interesting from the outside looking in. How do you? So I'm not sure what the over under is. I know it's pretty high. I need to double check. What do you think the final score is going to be? And you think
I
the
am
Ravens
not
are coming out on
jinxing.
top?
I do not predict the Ravens games at all. That's
Ooh.
not even happening here. That is the one thing I will never do is
Okay.
make a prediction.
All right. So I will give people a rundown on what it is. Right now, Ravens over under a 46.5, which surprisingly, there's a lot of like good scoring games. So this is like the 5th highest scoring game of the week, which is kind of surprising what we've seen. But basically, if you're in 46.5, like you're expecting a good offensive game where both teams are going to score and score often. So it should be a fun game regardless of who you're rooting for. Like, and that's what we're all here for. Like, we're talking about fantasy football, right? So this is what we love. You'll see some good defensive players because both teams have good defensive players. Like
Yep.
you talked about Hamilton, I think Hamilton's a really fun young player. So like,
Yes.
if he kind of like comes along a little bit more and showing on an island game, then people get more excited about him. But yeah, the Bengals, I know they're missing one of their defense. I'm not sure which one it is. I need to double check on that. That
Yeah,
could
I'm
be
gonna
the
have to
main
double
story.
check that too. But the defense is really good. They're one of the better teams in second half adjustments, and they have been for the past 3 years. And a lot of people give the success of the Bengals to Joe Burrow and that offense. It's actually the defense. Game in and game out, not not last game, but m- predominantly throughout the game in and game out, their defensive coordinator tweaks during the half are amazing. And I don't know how he's not getting head coaching calls, but he's one of the best at changing up the defense after the first half, and I think that's more. I think their defense is the reason they've had success more so than Joe Burrow, and a lot of people would disagree, but I'm a firm believer it's the Bengals defense that has carried this team.
Yeah, it's so interesting watching CJ Stroud. Like it didn't even affect him. Like it's literally like watching like Tom Brady back in the day, where it's like CJ Stroud's like, I don't like you're not gonna fool me. I'm a rookie, but he was literally just carving them up. It was so impressive. I was like,
He's
dude, this is
so good.
yeah, he's a problem. Like he's going to be a legit like MVP caliber player for a long time. So like just another fun quarterback in the AFC. But yeah, that was one of the most impressive like performances I've seen from rookie in a
He
long
reminds
time.
me of Deshaun Watson when he came out a lot.
Yeah, like he has, and he's just really
Yeah.
good at making progressions. He's good. Like this is what we talked about him. So like this is a little off topic, but yeah, like him carving up the Bengals defense and doing what he did, I was like, holy smokes, like bravo,
That,
dude. And
yeah.
this is a good Bengals defense, like you're talking about. Like
Right.
teams will have problems against them because the coverage they run. But yeah, like he's probably gonna get a job, and then the Ravens coordinators, like they always do a good job setting these guys up. So the defense has done pretty good this year. Like that defense has looked really good. So I've been very impressed from what I've seen with them. So we'll see. How do you think or you think they're able to generate enough pressure on Burrow in this game to like kind of disrupt him and get him off target?
So I think they're going to generate pressure. They're going to generate pressure on Burrow like they did the first time, but
Mhm.
Burrow is going to use his legs to escape, and that's going to be where the defense is going to have a heartache a lot. It is
Yeah.
unlike the first game where Burrow was more stationary. They're not going to have that this case, and I think you're going to see a lot of pressures not turn into sacks, but more explosive plays. That's one of
Yeah.
my bigger worries.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the game. It was a few weeks ago where I saw him. I think it was against San Francisco, was it? But he was like shaking off sacks, rolled out to his right, and threw a dime to Higgins, and I was like, okay, Joe Burrow's back. Like
Right.
this is the guy we thought we had. It's like, so yeah, it's gonna be a problem. But we can run a little recap here. So we're gonna go with, speaking of Joe Burrow, we're gonna take the over on 218.5 passing yards. Thanks for dropping it down from 261. So smash that over on that one. We're doing Mark Andrews over 56.5 receiving yards.
Mm-hmm.
Best tight ends in football. Makes sense. Gus Edwards over 45.5 receiving yards. Or sorry, rushing, not receiving yards. Jesus. Rushing yards. That would be impressive if it was receiving. Rushing yards against the Bengals defense that has been suspect in giving up big plays and explosive plays. So Edwards can hit that. Lamar Jackson, this is like the free prop of the day. It's 0.5 passing yards. So smash that one. That one's really easily. Yeah, I didn't have these up, did I? No, I did
No,
not.
no, that's fine.
Uh,
You'll post them on Twitter.
yeah, that's all good. Jamar Chase over 82.5 receiving yards. This is a big number for a receiver, but Jamar Chase is one of the best wide receivers in football. He has an advantage going up against the depleted secondary, so this is why we're so comfortable taking this one. And we're picking that with also his receptions in this game. 7.5 over the reception total for Jamar Chase. So we got 3 Bengals props. We have 3 Ravens props. Looking to go 6-0. We'll see if it hits this week. I don't know, but we've been doing pretty good as of late. So I like where our odds are at with these ones. It should be a fun game. Like I will, just because the Baltimore's at home. That's where my bet would be if I'm betting on this game. Like I'm taking Baltimore just because they're home team.
Nice.
They're confident. Like they've been a really good squad. So I think this will be the biggest challenge for Baltimore, like of the year. Now that it's a fully healthy Burrow. So yeah, I'm just really excited.
I like that. Every week it's a new biggest challenge for the Ravens, and I kind of like the underdog, and the Ravens thrive in the underdog
Yeah, right.
kind of mentality. So that's great, and I'm so happy the Ravens game is Thursday night football because the Cricket World Cup is at 4 a.m. on Sunday, India
Ooh,
versus
you be up early.
Australia. So
You're
I
gonna
am
be up
going to
early,
be
my
up
friend.
early and watching that. So I'm excited for this game today. And go Ravens.
Yeah. So yeah, you're here first. So yeah, check out the game tonight. And yeah, by the way, enjoy the cricket on Sunday. If anybody else wants to get up 4 in the morning, West Coast or East Coast time, 1 in the morning, West Coast time, like you can watch cricket, like feel free. I'll probably be up, so I'll peep it, like because I get home late. But yeah, this is, I'll shoot you a message. Be like, hey, Prue, how's it going over there?
All right. Well, we'll call it a day. But it should be an exciting game. I know Jesse's really awesome at posting these on Twitter right after our podcast. So make sure you follow him and follow all the progress we make and going 6-0 this week.
That's the goal, baby. Yeah, follow on TikTok or Twitter. Like I'll post them both there. So if you're not curious, and if you need it, I'll do it on Instagram as well. It's a little bit harder, but I'll get those on Instagram for you as well. So one of those 3 sites, you can see all of our props if you missed this. And yeah, good luck today, folks. We'll hopefully make money. We make money. You make money. We all win. That's what it is. So hope you guys enjoy this week 11 game, and we will see y'all next week.
Awesome. See you guys next week.